All right, there we go. We are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics, and it is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 26th of April, 2018. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you're ready for another set of my PGX comics that came back from grading. And while I'm waiting for people to come in, I just want to remind people, or if you're new here to the channel, let you know that I made a deal with PGX and the information will be in the description, so check it out, that any of my subscribers who want to use their services can get 10% off on anything that they do. It includes not just the basics, but Silver Age, Golden Age books, signature series, pressings, cleanings. So all you have to do is write the code We Love Comics 10%, and you'll get that discount. Just make sure that you don't apply it to the shipping and handling and insurance. Add that afterwards, because the 10% obviously doesn't include that. So we have the books right here for you. Now, unfortunately, this time I found out what the grades were. I didn't want to know, so it wasn't my fault. Normally they send me an email that tells me the tracking number of when the comics are going to arrive. So I always check it to see, what day it's going to come. This time they did something new to the email. They added the information. So I didn't know that when I opened it, so unfortunately I know the grades, but the best part is you don't. So from now on, I'll make sure I don't check the email until afterwards. One of the things they added, which I actually like, I wish they would have let me know about it, that they added what the original grade would have been, and then what the grade is after the pressing and dry cleaning. And it shows that if you're going to get your books graded, no matter what grading service that you get them to, you do want to get your books pressed and dry cleaned, because you'll see how much of an improvement they can get. So just to make sure everybody can hear me and everything, as you can see, I got a new camera because I wanted to make sure you guys can actually see what's going on. So let me know if it looks or sounds better. I'm slowly trying to improve it to make it the best as it can be. So let's get into it. So every month I send in 4 new comics to get graded, and they usually have a turnaround from me sending them to me getting them back of around 3 weeks. So that's one of the things I love about the service. Whether you want to use them or not, I leave that up to you. So let's get into our first comic. Now, there is like a 20-second delay, so I have to make sure first that you can actually see it. And if you want to leave comments, please do. Don't forget to hit subscribe, because if you want to get that discount for the PGX comic, you do have to be subscribers. So this first one right here, this is a book I've wanted for a long time. People are saying they really like it, so that's good. Okay, so this is House of Secrets number 92. This is the first appearance of Swamp Thing. Definitely a classic cover. This is a book I've wanted for a long time. Very expensive book at times. I paid, and I always make sure I give the price, and I know people appreciate that. Before I got it graded, I paid a total of $380, which includes the shipping and handling. And I predicted this book would come out a 2.0 to a 2.5. So let's show the grade I got for this one. So again, there's a little bit of a delay. So hopefully you'll be able to see this better. I added some more lights, so this way it makes it even better to see. So as you can see at this point, I'm sure this is a 3.0. So I was pretty close, but here's the thing. They told me that if it wouldn't have been pressed before the pressing, this book would have graded a 2.5. So exactly what I was saying it would be, between a 2.0 and a 2.5. The pressing brought it up a half a grade to a 3.0. So it clearly shows that the pressings will help. All right, so number 2. And again, I want to make sure it can be seen before I unveil it. Okay. So I'm very happy with that, even for that price. So it's definitely a book to get. And obviously Swamp Thing hasn't had, well, a recent movie or anything like that. I mean, they had one back in the 80s, but yeah, if they ever gets in a show, I don't think he'll get his own movie, but I think he could be part of one. And if he does, that book will continue to go up. So it's a book to grab before it gets that kind of situation. Nothing's been etched in stone as far as what's coming out, but you never know. All right, so as you can see here, we got another one of my grails. This is Amazing Spider-Man 129, which is the first appearance of the Punisher. This is another book I highly recommend getting if you haven't, even in low grade. With the success of the TV show, if it continues season after season, this book is just going to get more and more, popular and out of reach. So even if you can get it a lower grade, please get it while you can. All right, so this one I paid $430 for, and I predicted it would be a 3.0 to a 3.5 because this one had some water damage on the top, so I wasn't sure, how that would lower the grade. So, and Collector's Vault says, do you use PGX in-house pressing or someone else? I actually use theirs. So they do pressings and dry cleanings. And I like that because I don't want to have a book shipped to different places. Because even though companies like CGC do pressings, they don't do it in-house. Which means first you have to mail it there, then they have to mail it back to CGC, and then they mail it to you. So, as you've seen with many of my videos, with the wonderful packaging that UPS does, or I'm sorry, USPS does as far as damaging comics, I don't want to send my comics more than I have to. And a lot of people forget that sometimes damage can be caused either improperly of you, wrapping it up securely enough, or getting damaged in the mail. So I like the fact that PGX does the grading, they do the pressing, and they do the dry cleaning, and they also do signature verification. So I've never had a problem with them, and so far they've done a great job. All right, so I predicted this one would be a 3.0 to a 3.5. And again, a 20-second delay. As you could see here, it came out after the pressing and dry cleaning to a 5.0. Now, if I didn't get it pressed, it would have came back a 4.0. So this one went a whole full grade up with the pressing and dry cleaning. So even though it couldn't get the stains out, it did diminish them a little bit. Because I can see it had like a very orangey, like a light orange or light red kind of tint to it because of the color bleed. And you could see it faded a little bit. So the pressing and dry cleaning absolutely helped this one. So if it wouldn't have been pressed, it would have been a 4.0. So a whole grade higher from the pressing service. And they only charge, I think it's $18 to get a book like this pressed. So, I mean, the amount that you'll go up, it's totally worth it. All right, so next up, this one I knew was going to be a high grade. Like my Tales of Suspense 52 that I got last week at a 7.0, I knew this book was going to be just as beautiful because you could see, especially with a book that has a lot of white in the cover, this is a hard book to get in good condition. And as you could see, the coloring on this is absolutely beautiful. It's really white. So this one, I was predicting a little bit higher. I knew it would be higher than even what I said. But this is Tales of Suspense number 57, which is the first appearance of Hawkeye. Definitely a book to get. I paid $208.99 for this one raw. Not a bad price for that, considering when I saw this, I knew this was going to be one that had to get graded because it was in such great condition. And this book, I predicted a 4.5 to a 5.0. And here we go. So as you can see here, we have a 7.0. Now this one has creamed off-white pages. I didn't say that in the other ones. The Amazing Spider-Man 129 also had creamed off-white pages. And the House of Secrets 92 had tan to cream pages. That I knew when I bought it. And that's another reason why that grade was so low. But here's the best part about this one, because I knew a pressing would improve this one even further. If this would not have been pressed and dry cleaned, this book would have been graded a 5.5. So it went from a 5.5 to a 7.0 because of the pressings and the dry cleanings. So it shows how much sometimes a book can jump up in grade by getting them pressed and dry cleaned. So a lot of people, if you can find one, if you can't get it raw, try and find a graded book that might be a certain grade you're looking for that looks like a pressing could make it even more valuable by cracking it open and getting it pressed. So this went from a 5.5 graded to a 7.0. So definitely worth it to have that service done, no matter who you go to get it graded with. All right, so here is my Holy Grail. This is actually my second copy. This was an upgrade. Now, this one, and a lot of my subscribers agreed with me on this one. This, of course, is Daredevil issue number 1, which is the first appearance and origin of Daredevil in his wonderful banana suit when he first started out, issues 1 through 6. This seller on eBay listed this at a 4.0. And when I saw this, even in the pictures, I knew there is no way that this is a 4.0. And everybody that saw the video agreed and said it's going to be much higher. So this was a book I absolutely had to get sent in. I knew a pressing would help this book because especially over here, there was, I guess, somebody when they were reading the book, they were maybe grabbing it from there and there's that little indent, but it didn't break color. The pressing absolutely got that out. They couldn't get it all the way. Now you could see the M in the Marvel a little bit better, but I'm glad they didn't try and force it over because then you could pop the staples. So they did manage to get the crease out, the miswrap it's basically called. They got it a little bit more correct, but I'm glad they didn't try and force it because that's where you have to be careful with somebody that's not familiar with dry cleaning and pressings and haven't done it with a lot of experience. Because if you have a miswrap and you try and force this over too much, you can end up popping the staples and end up destroying your comic's value. So I'm very happy they didn't do that. But as you could see, this is a very white book. There are no spine ticks. I don't know if you could see it, but there's a little bit of the green here where Daredevil is, where it's a little faded, but because that's exactly where the edge was before they moved it. That's the only real major issue of this book. And if it wasn't for that little bit right there, this book would have even been higher. So I paid $825 for this book. I knew this was going to get higher. So they predicted, the people that sold me the book said this is a 4.0. Here's what I got. So I see people are making predictions. So here's the grade. And as you could see, it came back a 6.0 off-white to white pages. So this book, in this condition, even with PGX, this is about a $2,000 book now that I spent $825 on. And with the pressing and dry cleaning, it originally would have been a 5.5. So it went from a 5.5 to a 6.0. And when you're talking grades, I mean, going from a 5 to a 6 is a big difference in collectability. So I would have still been happy with a 5.5, but a 6.0 is much better. So those are the books. Get your books, if you get them graded, get your books pressed and dry cleaned. Because as you could see with these books, you are going to get much more improvement in your grade, which means they're going to be much more valuable. So let's go over them just in case you're coming in. So this is Daredevil number 1, graded at a 6.0. Would have been a 5.5 if it wasn't pressed. Paid $825 for that one. Next up, we have the Tales of Suspense number 57. That is the first Hawkeye. Paid $208.99. It came back a 7.0. If it wouldn't have been pressed, it would have been a 5.5. That has cream to off-white pages. Then we have Amazing Spider-Man, number 129, first appearance of Spider-Man. I wish it was the first appearance of Spider-Man. First appearance of the Punisher. Paid $430 for that one. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. It came back a 5.0. It would have been a 4.0 if it wasn't pressed and dry cleaned. And last but not least, and that one had cream to off-white pages, Last but not least, we have House of Secrets 92 for Swamp Thing. I paid $380 for that. Came back tan to cream pages at a 3.0. Would have been a 2.5 without the pressing and dry cleaning. So it definitely shows that that is going to help you improve the value of your books. If you appreciate these videos, please give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate it. Introduce my channel to other people. Let them know that this is out there. I will have another 4 books getting ready to be sent. And like I said, just in case you missed it in the beginning, I have a deal that I made with PGX that I basically do a little advertisement for them in the beginning of every video. They allow me to get these books graded so I can make the videos on a monthly basis. But I said I wouldn't do it without a deal for you guys. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Look in the description. You'll see a discount code that you can use where you can get 10% off any of their services. Like I said, it includes Modern Age, Bronze Age, Golden Age. They will do signature verification will be included. Pressings and dry cleanings will be included. Just make sure that you add the shipping and handling and the insurance separately. So that's it. Let me see if there's any questions. So let's see out there. Russell Hall says, do page quality affect the grade? Actually, not as much as you would think, because you can have a comic in the 9.0 range that could have creamed off-white pages. I've seen that. So the color of the page will affect it a little bit, but not as much as you think. It's basically going to be, like, I'll tell you an example. If you have creamed off-white pages, you'll actually get a higher grade than if the pages had a little millimeter of a bend in each corner. So they'll actually take away more on little bends and folds and things like that than they will the color of the pages. Because you've seen, I don't know if you've seen them, but I've seen 9.8s with creamed off-white pages. So, or off-white to white pages. So it doesn't necessarily have to be completely white for it to get a 9.8. So that's a good question. BXNYC76 says, yeah, how do you dry clean a comic book? Well, it's definitely something I wouldn't recommend doing yourself. All the companies, I'm not sure if CBCS does it. If they do, let me know, because I haven't used their service. But CGC does it, but they're not in-house. So that means they will have to send it somewhere else first, which means more chances of your comic potentially getting damaged. PGX has the services, and there's other companies out there that do pressing services. Make sure you know the person before you send them your books, and check them out, because I always tell people, do your own research. But PGX does their own in-house pressing and dry cleaning. So it's basically almost like taking one of those dry cleaning machines and you place it on the comic book. There's certain techniques you got to do, and it will help get out wrinkles and non-color breaking folds and things like that. And as you could see in this video, one of my books went from a 5.5 to a 7.0, but it's definitely something you should not do unless you've, practiced it. The machines you could probably buy for about around $300 or $400, but I would leave it up to the professionals, because especially for the prices they charge. I don't know what CGC, I actually did a price on theirs. Depending on the value of the book, it could get pretty expensive and could add a couple of months on top of your grading. So you're going to wait a while for them. As you could see with the PGX, I sent them in on March 30th. I got them back actually yesterday, the 25th. So from my house, getting graded, pressed, dry cleaned, and sent back in about 3 weeks. So let's see. Comic Book Ninja says, which company's grading do you agree with the most? I'll be honest. As you could see with these grades, they've been pretty much spot on. As you could see, because I gave my predictions of what I thought they would be, and before the pressings and dry cleanings, I was pretty much right on to what I thought they would be. I find, in my honest opinion, CGC tends to overgrade on higher books, because I've seen 9.8s where there's like nicks at the bottom corner of comics to the point where it should have been a 9.6. CBCS tends to be the strictest, and I think they're pretty much spot on a lot of the times. But I've seen videos where people have said about all three companies, either being spot on or, off. So it really depends on the book. It depends on the person that's grading it at the time. So it's really hard to say, but each company has their pluses and minuses. Let's see if there's any questions. Pages Films in Plastics 1959 says, hi, just tuned in. Cheers. Same to you. Welcome. Let's scroll up. I want to see if there's any questions. Null Howler, who was first, says, loves your video. Love your videos. Really big fan. Thank you very much. Let's give a shout out to everybody. Jeff Plays Games says, hi. So hello back. Shazal Perez gives a little peace sign. So peace out to you. Bubs Comics says hello to everybody. So everybody says hello back. Let's see. Comic Book Ninja says the anticipation. Yeah, that's why I was actually disappointed that I knew the grades this time. They, like I said in the beginning, just in case if you missed it, normally when they send me an email, they just send it saying, okay, here's the tracking number. This time they sent an email telling me the grades, and I didn't know that. So unfortunately I saw it, so now I'll know not to check the emails. Collector's Vault says wicked book. Thank you, I agree. Let's see. Josh Moe says, damn, that's not bad. Thank you, Josh. Welcome. Herbert Robert says, hello from France. Well, greetings and au revoir if you've left. I don't know how to say hello in France. Let's see. Collector's Vault. Do you... Oh, we already answered that question. Thanos says, I'm looking for that comic with the Punisher. Definitely get it while you can. It's hard to get in higher grade because of that bright yellow. Tends to fade a lot and get a lot of... shows a lot of scratches. But... I mean, it doesn't matter what, to me, it doesn't matter what grade you get as long as you're paying under what that grade is worth. Because you can actually make more money sometimes on lower grades than you can really high grades. Because it's the percentage of your profit as opposed to the amount of profit. In other words, if you have a 9.8 that you spent $10,000 on and waited 5 years and it went up to $12,000, yeah, that's an increase of $2,000, but that's a small percentage. If you have a book that you spent $100 on, and 5 years later it's now a $1,000 book, yes, you have a lesser amount of money, but a higher percentage of profit, which means you didn't have to hold on to that much money waiting for the value of that book to increase. So I forget who did it, and if you're around listening to this video, one of my subscribers did a video on just that, where they found, after they did price ranges of bought and sold comics, they found that the lower graded books actually get you a better return percentage-wise than higher grade books, every one that they checked. If the person that made that video, and I wish I remembered because it was months back, if they ever see this video, put the link in the video so other people can see it. So let's see if there's any other questions. Yang Day is here. Welcome. Monk's Den, welcome. Let's see if there's anybody else. JJR gives 3 thumbs up. Well, I only have 2 hands, but 2 thumbs up to you. Let's see. Sovereign Humanoid 33. Cheers, brother. Just stopping in to say hi. Hello to you, too. Michael Strand says, what is dry cleaning? I explained that one. If you haven't seen it, just rewatch the video. Contender, hey Chris, did you just upgrade the camera? Yes, I did. I just bought a new camera for you guys so you could see the videos clearer because I found my my camera that's built into this laptop, and this computer is only about 2 years old. You'd think they'd have a better quality camera, but at least now it doesn't look like I'm in some kind of snowstorm and you can actually see the book. He also says, please make a video on word etymology. I'll leave that for somebody else. Really not good at that for me, but it wouldn't work good here. Broke because of comics. He got his shout out the other day. Hello to you. Welcome. David Ewing says... Oh, it just scrolled. No, I don't know what David Ewing said. Let me find it. Sorry about that. Sometimes it scrolls and then all of a sudden it just disappears. Oh, he says, going to send books to get graded for the first time in a couple weeks to PGX. Well, hopefully you use the discount code. And if you get them... Once they come back, if you make a video, post the link in my channel. I don't mind helping out other channels. You should get them back pretty quick. Comic Book Ninja says, which company's grading do you agree with the most? I already answered that one. Comic Book Ninja says, Jose, get a Fantastic Four 48, First Silver Surfer. I thoroughly agree. That is a book you should get before you see any Silver Surfer or Fantastic Four in a Marvel movie. Because remember, Fantastic Four 48 is not only the first appearance of Silver Surfer, it's also the first cameo appearance of Galactus. So you have two major characters in that book. If you can't afford that book, because like a 5.0 nowadays is going to run you about $500, issue number 49 is the next best thing. You could actually get that for under 100 sometimes in mid-grade, and that's the first full appearance of Galactus. So it's not going to be as valuable or popular as 48, but it's still a good book to have if you can't afford the other one. Let's see. Yang Day says, are you going to watch Avengers Infinity War soon? Absolutely. If I didn't have to work tonight, I would have seen it tonight, but my wife and I will be seeing it tomorrow, either the 5:30 or 8:30 show. If you guys want, I'll do a review on it. Obviously, I'll do a non-spoiler review. Monk's Den says, does PGX charge extra for grading notes? No, they do not. All you have to do is message them, and they will give you the grader's notes for free. So that's another benefit of PGX over CGC, because CGC you have to pay $5 for that privilege, which to me makes no sense because you're paying to get it graded. You should be able to know what it is was the problem with the book. So PGX actually does offer that service for free. Let's see. Timothy Whitefield says, howdy from Georgia. Welcome. I'm assuming the state, not the country. Best channel on YouTube. Want the Swamp Thing book. Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure there are people in this comic book community that may beg to differ about that statement, but I appreciate it, and hopefully I'll continue to be your favorite channel. Let's see. Contender says, and I agree with this statement, Marvel and Fox merger increased the Fantastic Four and X-Men keys, and they will continue to do so. Now, that's provided the deal goes through. It's not official yet. Once you see it become official, you're going to see books go even higher, because I think some people are still hesitant about it. And then once you see any of them, you know, promoted in a trailer or an announcement that they'll be in a movie, forget it. Those books are going to be untouchable at some point. So I actually made a video about a month ago saying 10 books that you need to get before it's too late. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. And it lists a lot of books that will be because of those movies. So get them. I mean, some of them are a little out of most people's price range, but if you could still get a 0.5, let's say you bought a 0.5 for 400, and then there's an announcement that one particular character is going to be in a Marvel movie for the first time. Let's say it's Silver Surfer, and you bought, you know, a 0.548 for $300-400, and then all of a sudden when the movie's announced, all of a sudden that 0.5 is now worth $600-800. Well, you made a profit. So don't always go by lower to higher grades unless you're somebody that absolutely has to have higher grades. See, to me, as you can see, none of these books came back at 9.0, a 9.8, an 8.0. So I can't really afford the higher grades, but I'll get what I can afford. To me, low grade is better than no grade, but each person has their preference. There really is no wrong way to do it. Let's see. Pages, Films, and Plastics 1959 says, thanks again for enlightening me on the existence of Jeepers Creepers. Can't wait to receive them. I love doing that. It's one of the reasons not only do I like making videos, I actually like watching other people's videos, because there's many channels where I've seen a video where they show a comic book that I never knew about and made me want to get it. So if there's anything positive about this community at times, is the ability to look at other people's books and see something that you may have never known about before. So I love when somebody tells me, oh, you know, you showed a book that I never knew about or didn't know that it had the first appearance or an origin of a major character, or even a speculation book to look out for. So I love doing that, and I'm glad people appreciate it, and I'll continue to do it as much as I can. Let's see. Collector's Vault says, what's the biggest increase, the book grade from normal grading to pressing and dry cleaning? Well, this is the first time I ever got the notes saying what it was from. So as of now, the biggest jump would be the Tales of Suspense 57. That would have been a 5.5 if it wasn't pressed and dry cleaned, and came back a 7.0. So that's a big jump right there. But that's so far. I mean, I'm sure now they'll do that every time. I just won't look ahead of time. And if they do, we'll go from there to see. But you could have even at the very least, like one of my comics, The House of Secrets, went from a 2.5 to a 3.0. Not a major jump, but still a jump. So, I mean, especially if eventually you're going to turn around and sell the book or trade the book, you'd want the highest grade possible to get the best kind of either trade deal or profit. So I don't mind as long as it's going the upward direction. Now, not every book is going to benefit from a pressing or dry cleaning. Like, for example, if you have, let's say you have New Mutants 98, and it's got one little crack that breaks color in on the spine. Well, it's not going to fix that. So something with a color break, a dry cleaning or a pressing cannot fix. But if it's a non-color breaking fold or bend or anything like that, ripples due to the water damage, it can straighten that out. You're going to improve the grade of your book. And if at the very least, it just makes it look that much more attractive. Let's see. Comic Book Ninja says, I also recommend funding for Fantastic Four #4. Absolutely agree. That's a book I've been trying to get. I actually bought one that would have been a 6.5 to a 7.0 for $400, which would have been a steal, and they never sold it. They never sent it. I wonder why. That's like a $1,200 book before it got graded. But yeah, Fantastic Four, which is Fantastic Four #4, is the first Silver Age appearance of the Submariner. And there's been a lot of rumors that he might end up in a movie or a TV show. I think it would most likely be a movie. I don't think he'd get his own movie. But that book I would highly recommend to get. It's an expensive book, but there's always deals to be found. Let's see, anything else? Jose Perez, let's see, welcome. Woody Warren, in my humble opinion, as long as the book presents well, then a mid or low grade, it's fine to purchase. Yeah, like I said, it's there's no wrong way to collect. Unfortunately, there's a few people that seem to feel that it's their job to tell other people how they can and cannot collect. Don't ever let anybody tell you what you're doing is wrong or could be done in a different way or you're doing it differently than everybody else does. As long as you're not hurting the community by trying to steal people's books or trying to trick and scam people and stuff like that, it doesn't matter how you collect. So if you collect in a way that no one else does and it makes you happy and you're not doing anything wrong, then who cares what anybody else says? That was one of the biggest things I learned when I shut down the original version of this channel, is I worried too much about what other people thought. Now, I only care about what my wife thinks, what my family thinks, what my friends think, and the subscribers that are here for the right reasons who enjoy my content. Other people, you know, if they want to have their negative lives and do negative things, that's on them. So let me just see if there's anything else before I close up. Collector's Vault says, now a difficult question. Ooh. In my mind anyway. If you had 1,000 euros to 1,500 euros, which I'd say is about 2,000 US dollars to spend on a comic, what would you pick up? Honestly, it would really depend on the deal I can get, because I don't mind getting another Hulk 181 if I can get it under what the value is. So if it had to be one that I haven't gotten, for $1,500, I would try and get like a 0.5 to a 1.0 Amazing Spider-Man #1. Now, I have an Amazing Spider-Man #1, but it's coverless. But I paid under $300 for the book, so I can't complain. Another book, which I probably wouldn't even be able to get at a 0.5, two books that I really want to get is Showcase #4, which is the first Silver Age appearance of The Flash. I mean, good luck getting that. It's like a 1.0. It's like $2,000-$3,000. And the other is Action Comics 242, which is the first appearance of Brainiac. So I think of the three, I think the one that I would be able to get for that price if I had it, around $2,000, would probably be a 3.0 to a 3.5 Action Comics 242. I would love to get that comic. That one's hard to get in high grade because of that deep purple fades and it shows every little break. And there's books out there that show, because it's so hard to get, that even a 4.5 of that book is worth a couple of $1,000s, like $3,000 or $4,000. So if I had the chance, I would get that. But again, for me, I'm always looking for deals. So I don't mind getting a duplicate of a book if I can get it for undervalue. That's why I have multiple copies of stuff, because to me, the best thing about having multiple copies is if you have to sell one or if you have to trade one, you still have it. So that's a benefit of getting multiple copies of especially key issue books. Now, that's not going to work for everybody. Some people may think, you know, oh, you shouldn't get more than one book. There are some people that collect 20 of the same book. Again, there's no wrong way to do it. So, yeah, and Comic Book Ninja says Amazing Spider-Man #1 went up a lot in the last year. Yeah, and that's because of the movies. That's what happens. So I think realistically with the $2,000, unless I saw somebody selling it offline on Craigslist or something, the chances of me getting one for that price probably even wouldn't be available. But I don't mind. If I get something else that I enjoy, hey, sometimes you miss the boat on stuff. You can't beat up for what could have been, would have been, or should have been. You go by what you can do. So that's it. I don't want to make this video too long. It's already 35 minutes, and I know a lot of people don't like watching long videos. If you're one of the people that watch the whole thing and you enjoy it, just put in the comment section whether you're watching it live or watching it later on, days, weeks, or months later. Just put in We Love Comics. If you want a grade with PGX, look in the description below. Use that 10% discount. You have to be a subscriber. They will check. They did tell me they do check. So one or two may slip through the cracks, but if you're one that's not subscribed and they check and you don't have it, you don't get the discount. So just hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything. Check out my other videos. Give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, not you, not I. It's We Love Comics. So thanks for the questions. Thanks for everybody showing up. I always appreciate you guys. And I'll see you next video.